Ladies and gentlemen, a warm welcome to Tim Elliott up against Victor Altamirano this weekend. You're number 11 in the division. He's unranked. I know that you're one of the gamest in the sport. Any hesitation to sign this one with a dude who's below you like that?
No, I mean, originally they had me fighting Alan Nascimento, who was also unranked. Then he got hurt. I asked for Amir Albazi, but he was already booked. I asked for Sue Madarji. He was already booked. A couple of guys that I'd already fought before. And then I asked for anybody ranked above me. They said everybody was booked, that I had to fight Nascimento, and they was just going to move the fight back to the 24th. But I've been away from my daughter for already 6 or 8 weeks, which I'm never away from her. I'm a full-time dad. She's with me all the time. She usually comes to camp with me. She comes to the gym with me. So I told them, I was like, no, I can't go another 3 weeks without seeing my kid. And they said they were going to try to find me a replacement on June 3rd. They called me back and said, no replacement on June 3rd. I had to fight Nascimento. I said, well, if I have to fight him, can I be guaranteed my show money if he doesn't show up again? Because I need a paycheck. I haven't fought for a year. They said, yeah, no problem. And then maybe 2 hours later, my manager called me back and said that Victor Altamirano took the fight for June 3rd. So for me, it was mostly about getting a fight. It didn't really matter who.
And how pleased are you just to be getting back in there? I know you love to fight.
Man, it's my favorite thing. Other than my kid, it's my favorite thing on the planet. So to be a year layoff with injuries and then getting better and then another injury and, just had kind of a muddy year altogether, to get back in there and do the one thing that I'm really, really good at other than being a dad, man. I couldn't wait, and I couldn't be more excited.
How much, I know some people say, oh, the rankings don't matter, but I feel like when you've got a good one, they do matter. I mean, you're 11, another big win, another couple of big wins, you're right back in the mix, right? So what are you looking for the rest of the year in that regard?
Mostly just to stay active. I would like to go up. I would like to, fight somebody above me, obviously. But I've always been the company man for the UFC. They need somebody to show up, make weight, and fight hard. I'm always that guy. And I can't really complain about getting unranked guys or really high-ranked guys because I've always sold myself as that guy. So whenever they call, I show up, and that's just kind of my gimmick.
Are you going to be keeping a close eye on Albazi and Cara France? Because, it could be very well that one of those names could be for you soon.
Of course, not just for a fight for me, but just because I like watching the flyweights go. I have a little bit of history with Albazi. We had some beef back and forth on the internet. Was never serious on my part. It was all, anytime I've ever had beef with somebody on Twitter, usually we're friends and we just are fucking around. But I think he was serious. Like, he really hates me. So that was obviously a fight I was looking forward to. And Kai and I have some history. We were on the Ultimate Fighter together. And man, he's looking really sharp. I'm excited to see the fight as a fan and as an opponent as well.
There's a lot of talking going on in this division, especially with people like Manel Kape, and you've got Muhammad Mokaev as well, calling everybody out. What do you make of those two dudes? I feel like they're both new-ish still to the division.
I mean, they both call me out on a regular basis, but of course, I want to fight the old hurt 36-year-old guy too, but I'm just the only guy in the division that's like that. So I don't know. I've agreed to fight hundreds of guys in the UFC on Twitter. Every time somebody's asked me to fight them on Twitter, I always say yes. I've never, not one time have I agreed to a fight on Twitter. As a matter of fact, the matchmakers don't like when you do that. They don't want you to do their job for them. That's not a thing. Like, even when Nascimento pulled out for injury, I was like begging for a fight for June 3rd. And my manager called me. He was like, yo, man, like, they have matchmakers for a reason. Like, you do your job, shut up and fight, and let them do their job. So usually I oblige whoever is talking, even just regular people on the street. If they say they want to fight me, I always say yes.
How do you see Pantoja Moreno rematch going?
I think Pantoja is very good, but he's kind of like me in the sense that I feel like he's more on the tail end of his career. It's hard to stay up and compete with these guys that are 25, 26. I think if Brandon Moreno would have stayed in Tijuana training there, I think that Pantoja would have a better shot. But Brandon is, he was at my gym at Glory, and I literally told James Krause before, I was like, the only way I could beat a guy like Brandon Moreno is having a coach like you and game planning to beat him. I'm never going to be able to outwork these 22-year-olds. I have to be able to develop a plan to beat them. Same with Tagir. I have to be able to develop a plan to beat those guys. And then Brandon Moreno shows up at the gym and I'm like, oh, now what? But I think that's Brandon Moreno's fight to win. However, if anybody can beat him, it's Pantoja. That guy's a real deal.
What do you think of Altamirano in terms of his style? El Magnifico, what's he got for you?
He's he's dangerous in the sense that we both dip our heads real low. We both have wild head movement. I mean, we're liable to clash heads and knock each other out. So there's a danger factor in that sense. But stylistically, it's a good fight for me. I can go out there and do the things that I really want to do, that I want to do every fight, you know, that I wouldn't be able to do against Nascimento. I can't do the crazy shit I want to do with Nascimento because he's so good on the ground. With Altamirano, there's nothing stifling me from doing, you know, 100% Tim Elliott, and that's exciting for me.
You mentioned that it's been like a tough year for you with that whole stuff with Kevin Croom. Have people been pretty supportive? It seems like people have been like quite positive for you.
Yeah, I mean, you know, there's always, the internet's kind of a cruel place, but yeah, it's, you know, I'm not a guy who likes to air my dirty laundry, but like I was in a bad way. I'm obviously I'm doing much better now, but like literally like one of my best friends comes over and plays with my daughter. You know, my daughter she would just randomly say, "Hey, could Kevin Croom come over and play?" And like I'd invite the guy to come over and play with my kid. And like Gina Mazany was, you know, I've really, really loved her. She was my best friend and the mother to my child for 6 years. So I've had a lot of support and it's helped a lot. And you know, again, I don't wish any ill towards either one of those guys. I hope they live happily ever after, but it's just I'm not going to be a part of it.
That seems like a super positive outlook. I know that fans, or I don't know if it was outlets, were pushing Dana like this is a hell of a fight that you could sell. Like, would you ever go for that?
I mean, if he was here right now, I would fight him. I mean, that's part of the reason why I left Kansas City. I mean, I moved her there. I was there in Kansas City before Kevin. Like that, Kansas City is my city. I had to leave my city to protect myself and protect my family. But you know, that's just how I am. I'm never going to do anything that's going to jeopardize my daughter's life or her well-being. So I had to leave. You know, I had to leave, and it's not, you know, tuck tail and running is not really my style. But it was the good parent thing to do. And you know, at the end of the day, I'm a dad first and then a fighter second. So
maximum respect for that, man. Spoke about how much you love fighting. Is boxing something that we'd see you do, or bare knuckle?
100%. I feel like I'm better. I would be better at bare knuckle. I'm a clinch fighter. I like to dip my head a lot. You know, so definitely, unless the UFC signs me to another contract, I'm gonna go to bare knuckle directly after the UFC. But the thing is, like, I'm gonna be one of those guys. They have to tell me to stop fighting. Like, they're gonna have to fire me. They're gonna have to not sanction me to fight because I love it. It's not, you know, I do it for the money because I actually can make some money doing it. But even if I wasn't making any money, I would still go in the gym and spar every week because I love to fight.
Respect. We're going to wrap up with a quick fire, if that's okay with you. So who's the hardest hitter right now in the UFC pound for pound?
The hardest hitter? Oh, man. If we're doing pound for pound, we're talking little bitty guys. Kaiker France has got to be up there, man. The guy is tiny. I just saw him here at the PI. He's a little bitty dude, and he's got dynamite in his hand. So he's going to be up there.
Best wrestler?
Oh man, you're killing me. That's hard. Like regular wrestling or MMA wrestling. I'm gonna have to go with John Jones just because his wrestling really attributes his striking. He's probably the best at everything, though. To be fair.
Who's the funniest?
I like Groovy Landau Venata. He's funny on Twitter, and I like his style in the cage too. I just smile every time I see that dude do anything.
Who's the most annoying?
Oh man, probably Henry Cejudo has to be the most annoying, but also super funny. I like him as well.
Who's the best looking fighter in the UFC?
Oh man, for men, I would probably have to say Drew Dober. That's a handsome fellow. And then as far as females go, I don't really know. I don't pay too attention, but I hear a lot about. I train with Drew Dober a little bit. He's a handsome guy.
Yeah, true that. And who would you most like to have dinner with?
Oh man, it'd probably have to be Lando Venata again. He's my favorite fighter. I sat next to him at some fights once, and like I just like to pick that guy's brain. When he first came into the UFC, he had that fight with Tony Ferguson. I just couldn't believe. I was just amazed. And I've seen his fights in China and Japan that he fought, and then he just impressed me so much with that Tony Ferguson fight when Tony was in his prime.
Yeah, what a debut. And who's got the best fight IQ?
I'm gonna have to go back to John Jones again. his only loss is a disqualification. Like he's got to be the best.
Yeah, I may as well stop asking that when I've had like 95% of the answers are always John Jones.
Okay.
Who's got the coolest tattoos?
Oh man, I don't really pay too much attention. I probably have some of the dumbest tattoos. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really pay attention to that.
Who's the best dressed?
I'm gonna. He always dresses kind of weird, but I'm gonna say Israel Adesanya. Mostly just because I could pull none of that shit off. I wear sweatpants and t-shirts everywhere. So
Who would make the best movie star?
probably Israel Adesanya again. I think he's just kind of electric. You know, in the cage, out of the cage, he kind of demands everyone's attention.
Who's got the best hands?
Probably Israel Adesanya again. Yeah, his striking is just amazing. I'm always, especially after his last fight, he's technically sound.
Who's the most interesting female fighter?
I think Rose Namajunas. I just always wondered what she's thinking, what's going on in her head. She has in between rounds, she just stone faced. So she's always been interesting to me.
Who would you most want by your side in a street fight?
Probably John Jones.
And
he's able to actually help you in a street fight.
Who would be the most fun UFC fighter to go out on a night with or get drunk with?
Oh, Conor McGregor for sure.
And finally, who would be your dream fight in any weight class, past or present?
Man, I already fought him, but I would like to get another shot at Demetrius Johnson. When I fought him, I wasn't really making good decisions. I feel like I'm a little bit different fighter now. I would like to fight Demetrius Johnson again.
Awesome, man. Dude, maximum respect, Tim. Always good to see you, man. Good luck for this one and great to have you back.
Thank you, sir. Glad to be on.